السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مرحبا بكم أيها الطلاب الكرام. We are on الدرس الأول الجزء الثاني. We are on lesson 1 part 2. Now open up to page 6. And if you feel like we're going a little bit fast, you can always pause the video whenever we're reading, or you can pause the video to give yourself time to catch up a little bit. What we're going to introduce today, we've taken how to ask a question by saying ma, what is? And another way to ask is by adding Hamzatul Istifham. You add this Hamza. Now I know when we were learning, we learned that this was called a alif, right? Actually the alif is just the one without the Hamza on the top. Once the Hamza goes on there, it's called Hamza. And even the one that comes at the beginning of a word without the Hamza there, it's just called Hamzatu Waslin and Hamzatu Qat'in, which we'll get into. But for right now, this is called Hamzatul Istifham, the Hamza of inquiry, if you will. And it's a way to ask a question. If you look at page 6, you will see that one of the first questions they ask is Ma hadha? And then he says hadha baytun. And then he says ahadha baytun. What does that mean? So ahadha baytun. We know what hadha bayt means. This is a house. What happens when this Hamza of inquiry comes in? Hamzatul Istifham. It means is. Remember I said there's no exact word for is in the Arabic language? This applies to a also. Is this Tanween a house? So you want to ask a question, you can technically say ahadha baytun, ahadha masjidun, ahadha kitabun. Now remember, I'm still ending it with tanween until you guys get used to hearing, okay, there's a tanween at the end, now I know. But you're supposed to, eventually, we're going to transition off to where we just say ahadha bayt, ahadha kitab, ahadha rajul. Okay? When you speak to people, they will sometimes use this in a way you're not familiar with, right? If you say, for example, and this is going to be a little off topic, but I want you to get used to knowing that this is still being used until today. People don't say, ahadha masjidun, but if they're asking you, are you going somewhere? So here's the Arabic word for tadhab, and we're far away from learning present tense verbs. But this means you are going, right? That Hamza will come. Atadhabu. Where all that concerns us is the usage of this, right? Atadhabu. Are you going? See how it changed from is, now it's are you going? And when people say it, they might even change the harakat. The normal way you're supposed to say it is atadhabu. Right? Atadhabu. Take the Yemeni dialect. Like I said, it's way off topic, but I know how much you guys appreciate that. أتذهب أتسير أتروح أتأكل. You see, don't think that, fine, I learned it, it's supposed to be said that way, that's the only way, now when people talk I don't understand them. It's because of the way people pronounce things. And you will inshallah ta'ala learn it, but just give yourself time with the basic stuff now, and then you'll start branching off into the Yemeni dialect and the Gulf dialect and the North African dialect and the Shami dialect. You'll inshallah pick that up as you go along. Right now, basic learning. Is this a house? Ahada baytun. Let's go through the rest of the exercises on page 6. He then says, Na'am, hada bayt. The word na'am is the way you say yes, the formal way, na'am. A lot of time people would just say aywa or e. That's the way you can say yes. They just say e, or they say aywa. You're learning na'am. That's the formal way to say yes. Na'am hadha bayt. Go down to the next part where there's a picture of a flannel shirt. Ma hadha? Hadha qamisun. Hadha qamisun. Read along and make sure that you are pronouncing like how I'm pronouncing. Next, they're asking a question. Ahada sarirun. Ahada. There's a lot of stuff going on here, fellas. Ahada sarirun. I remember when my teacher first introduced that you can write scenes without these 3 little sections. I remember when I first started writing, I'd go like this, and it would look something like that. It'd look very blocky, you know? And you might do a little curve at the end to give yourself some flair. And really, if you just, like I said, if you just accept the fact that don't just write the letter, draw the letter, you know, it will look different, but it will look much better. There's different ways of writing. Like I said, when my teacher first introduced that this word can be written, this scene especially, can be written by a little mark that comes upward like that, and then you just... I never wrote another scene in my life. Only that way. Because I didn't have to do 3 marks. It doesn't even have to be exact. You just go like that. And it means scene in what is known as the writing of ruq'ah. And I'm by no means an expert in that writing, but I know a few letters that I like to use to cut shortcuts. Next, we go into the chair. Ahada sarirun. Is this a bed? La hada kursiyun. Ahada miftahun. Is this a pen? La hada qalamun. No, this is a qalam. So we took na'am to mean yes, and we took la. La is how you say no. Now, it's not the way how you say don't or not. It could be, but it's not the only use of this word is not just no. It could sometimes mean not, it could sometimes mean don't or do not. So we'll learn about it later on, Sha Allah. At the bottom where he says, Ma hadha hadha najmun. What is this? He's no longer asking, is this? He's saying, what is this? Okay? Yes. So on page 7. Page 7, it's an exercise for you guys. And that exercise is going to be for you to do at home. And what it basically is it has a list of pictures. And you're supposed to look at those pictures and be able to identify them and answer it in Arabic. So it says, Ma hadha, what is this? And you write down, Hadha miftah. So that's page 7, which we are going to skip over. Because all the pictures are all there for you to know from the previous lesson. And page number 8 is the second exercise, which means tamreen. By the way, tamreen means exercise. Or practice, I should say. It means practice. And it's similar to what we took before, in which we said, Ahadha baytun. They ask you a question, and now you have to answer, yes, it is this, or no, it is not that. So you'd say, أهذا بيت? It's a picture of a mosque. You would say, لا, هذا مسجد. Number 2, أهذا مفتاح? He says, is this a key? You would say, لا, هذا قلم. And lastly, he says, or one before the last, أهذا قميص? Is this a shirt? And he would say, نعم, هذا قميص. And then at the end, أهذا نجم? Is this a star? And you say, نعم, هذا نجم. سنقف هنا. سنقف هنا. We will stop here and we will continue in our next lesson, Sha Allah, from page 9 and التمرين الثالث. We make our dua. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وإلى اللقاء أيها الطلاب الكرام. السلام عليكم.